Hello, mystics, and today we're going to be talking about the summer solstice. The summer solstice has many different names, known as Litha, Midsummer, but for the purposes of this video, we will just be calling it the summer solstice. The summer solstice is a celestial event when the sun reaches its highest point in the sky. And this is a pivotal moment because the Earth's axis actually leans closest to the sun on this day, making it the longest day and the shortest night of the entire year. Fun fact, the word solstice actually comes from the Latin word solstium, meaning sun stands still, referencing the visual part of the sun's movement in the sky. For the Northern Hemisphere, this happens between June 20th and June 22nd every single year. The ancient people saw the sun as the ultimate giver of life. They grow plants by it, the animals and humans rise and rest by its rhythm. Our ancestors lived in direct relationship with the sun in a way we don't today. And this is because they lived in an agrarian society. They grew their own food. The summer solstice was a moment of rest for them between the sowing of the plants, the growing, and then the harvest. This was a time for a pause before the toil of the reaping begins in August. For the ancient people, the summer solstice was a chance to celebrate life, fertility, abundance. They also offered prayers, gratitude, and asked for protections and blessings. I'm going to share a little bit about the ancient people celebrations so you can see how you can also celebrate the summer solstice in alignment with our ancestors. So the first people we're going to talk about are the Druids. We don't know much about the Druids. Everything we know about them comes from secondary sources. So this is what we do think we know. The Druids were deeply attuned to the sun's movements, and they would gather at a sacred monolith called Stonehenge. This gathering at Stonehenge has been debated for many years. What did it actually mean? What I think it means on an esoteric level is the solstice offered a moment that the veil between the worlds thinned, and the solar deity was really present with the ancient people in that moment. And people still do this today. Modern Druids go during the summer solstice, the winter solstice, the spring equinox, and the autumnal equinox. I've actually been able to watch it on TikTok. Ultimately, what we think the Druids were celebrating was the solstice at its height, the height of masculine energy. And that represents the outward expansion of life as things have grown through the spring. It is believed that the Druids celebrated the summer solstice as a marriage between earth and heaven. We know that the Druids gathered sacred herbs during this time. They also would burn their sacred tree, an oak tree, in the midsummer fires. This was a magical rite where these ancient people believed that they would be able to use the light and energy of this oak tree to banish away evil spirits, fae, and even dark spirits. I know we have all seen the Ari Aster horror movie Midsummer. And yes, this is a real festival, and no, nobody dies during it. If you watched my Beltane video, you'll notice that there are a lot of similarities in Beltane and the Swedish Midsummer. This celebration was to celebrate fertility, love, the sun, and connection to earth, and it is a pre-Christian fertility rite. There was a lot of dancing, particularly with their version of the maypole. Wreaths of wildflowers and summer crowns were made. And of course, there was a large feast. Midsummer here blends a special kind of magic with a rural nature magic and pagan ritual. This summer solstice was also very important to many Indigenous tribes. Many Indigenous nations celebrate with the Sundance ceremony, particularly the Plains tribes like the Sioux. Many of these traditions do continue into present day. A Sundance ceremony is a multiple-day ritual that includes drumming, fasting, and brutal physical endurance to honor the Great Spirit and the life cycles. This ceremony recognizes the sun as a being of vitality and transformation. This ritual is a reflection of the sacred relationship between the land and sky. Kupala Night was a deeply magical summer solstice festival, which included some love divination. Young women would make flower wreaths and float them down the rivers in hopes of bringing forth their love. And couples would leap hand in hand over bonfires for fertility and protection. And during the festival, at night, a rare mystical fern would blossom, bringing luck and inner sight to anyone who found it. And lastly, we'll talk about Norse and Germanic tribes. In Norse mythology, Balder, the beloved son of Odin, embodied the beauty of the summer sun. Fires were lit for his honor, to celebrate his presence and mourn his eventual death. This story is an allegory of the sun's rise and fall, peak and decline. These fires symbolize the union between the earth and the sky and humanity and the gods. So consistently through every culture, we see the story of the sun rising to its peak, and we see an honor of the element of fire and the relationship between the earth and the sky and its sacred union. So what are the 6 ways that you can celebrate the summer solstice today? The first is by making a flower crown. Flower crowns are a beloved tradition in the Germanic, the Celtic, and Eastern European peoples. The flower crowns represent fertility, and they are said to protect the wearer and attract love because you are now in alignment with the nature spirits. So here's one that I have made in the past. I am a big fan of flower crowns. I've had many of them throughout my life, and I'm going to walk you through how to make one. You'll need to go to your local craft store. You'll need to buy green floral wire, and you want 18 gauge. You need it to be thick enough that it can support the flowers and it's not going to wilt. You're going to need wire cutters, floral tape, I like to use green, and then you'll need a mix of flowers. Ideally fake ones so it will last longer, but you can use fresh if you'd like. Some of the colors that I recommend for this particular festival celebrating the summer solstice would be red, orange, yellow, and white. And lastly, you're going to need trailing greenery, ribbons, or little added on pieces like this to fill in the spaces between the flowers. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take the floral wire and wrap it around your head or whoever is going to wear it to make sure you get the right size. I actually made this one adjustable. We're not making adjustable ones today, so you'll put the wire around your head to get the exact measurements. And you want just a tiny bit of extra room because the floral and wrapping is going to take up a lot of space. So once you have secured the shape that you want, you're going to twist the ends together and you're going to then wrap the entire thing in the floral tape to give it a cushion and making sure no wires can poke through. You'll need to prep your flowers next. Take all of your florals and you'll want to leave 2 to 3 inches of stem. Cut them in small segments because you do want to space them out. Then you'll take your gauge wire again and cut about 2 inches long so you can wrap the flowers together. Probably the easiest way to do this is create little bundles of your flowers first and then attach them to the wire. So you will take your little bundle of flowers and then you will take your wire and you will wrap it around and secure it tightly. And you're going to work your way around the entire crown. And once you've done that, you can add the finishing touches, whether you need to wrap wires or if you want to add a ribbon, for example. You can add extra greenery like I did with some ribbon here in order to hold any wires that may poke you. Voila! You have a flower crown. The second thing you can do is plant flowers for the bees and butterflies. Bees and butterflies have special symbolisms within the summer solstice. So bees represent community, they represent fertility, divine order, and the sacred feminine. That's why we have a queen bee. This symbolism dates back all the way to ancient Greece, where bees were sacred to Artemis and Demeter. There were even bee priestesses. They would serve as oracles by listening and hearing the bees. This would be then later popularized again in the Victorian era. And in Celtic lore, bees were thought to carry messages from the other side. And then butterflies. They symbolize transformation, the lightness of being, freedom, and beauty. There are many European and Indigenous tribes that see the butterfly as a representation of the soul. And in Irish folklore, The butterfly is a symbol of the dead. Our earth is dying and needs help. So let's use the summer solstice to give back to nature by planting flowers for endangered species and helping them repopulate. So there's a little bit of preparation that needs to go into this. So first, you need to learn about your grow zone. Depending on where you live in the world means what kind of plants will flourish and which ones are best for your area. That way you can choose one of these 15 plants that will be best for you. These are the 15 plants that bees, butterflies, and other pollinators love. Wild bee balm, milkweed, yarrow, goldenrod, rudbeckia, thyme, wild sage, garden sage, not white sage, asters, Joe pieweed, anise hyssop, bloodrot, mountain mint, boneset, and blazing star. When you decide what plant you want, go to your local gardening supply center and purchase a pot, soil, and a watering can. You can choose to either buy the seeds or buy the plant already alive. When you decide to plant this flower, do it with intention. You are doing this in honor of the earth. So maybe the intention is that as you repopulate the earth, like you are reborn within yourself. Or maybe you want to attract bees to receive more messages from the divine. Perhaps that as you fill this world with more abundance, it will come back to you. Make sure you leave your plant outside. You want the bees, the butterflies, and other pollinators to be able to access it. And remember, each plant has its own unique needs. So be sure to research and know that you can adequately care for the plant. Number 3, bonfires have been central to solstice rites across Europe for centuries. Jumping the fire was a rite of purification and fertility. In Norse and Slavic traditions, leaping over the fire symbolized leaving behind fear and stepping into joy, love, and strength. So if you have a safe outdoor space, build a small fire or light a large candle and a fireproof bowl for you to jump over. And as you stand before the flame, speak your intention out loud. I leap into prosperity, or I release what no longer serves me. And then symbolically, jump or step over the candle. Number 4, celebrating with food. Here are some summer solstice recipes that I have really enjoyed. The first one is rosemary lemonade. Lemon is ruled by the sun and brings clarity and joy. Rosemary is also a solar herb that's used for protection and exorcism. So you will need about 6 to 8 lemons. You'll need 1 cup of sugar or honey. If you want to make this recipe vegan friendly, swap out honey for agave. You will need 6 cups of water and 2 to 3 sprigs of fresh rosemary. You can also add lemon slices and ice to this. So you'll first start by creating a rosemary simple syrup. So you combine the water, the sugar, and the rosemary leaves in your small saucepan and bring it to a boil and stir it until all the sugar has dissolved. You will then simmer for 1 minute and then remove from the heat and allow the mixture to steep for 30 minutes before use. Lastly, you will strain the syrup into a clean bowl. You will then get your large pitcher, add the remaining water, mix in your lemon juice and the rosemary syrup, chill and serve with ice and those lemon slices. It's a wonderful, refreshing drink, and to add a little bit of witchcraft to it, stir clockwise with intention for clarity and vitality when you're making the syrup and when you're making the lemonade. The 5th way to celebrate the summer solstice is foraging for herbs. If you live in a rural area, you would be able to connect with this summer solstice tradition because the ancient Druids and some medieval witches as well believe that when you gather herbs on the summer solstice, they're more potent. They are supposed to have amplified properties, whether it's for healing, divination, or protection. So as you walk through your neighborhood or go to a local trail, you'll either want to download an app to help you identify plants or get a guidebook on plants in your area. I personally would look for solar herbs like rosemary, yarrow, chamomile, St. John's wort. And you want to collect these respectfully. So have a nice bag, maybe some scissors to cut, don't just yank them out of the earth. And as you're doing that, give honor to the earth. Thank it for its gift. Some people say that you can leave behind an offering. Do not leave your hair. Don't do that. I don't know who came up with that idea. Not great. You can offer some water, or perhaps you pick up trash in the area as an offering. When you get home, you can hang dry your herbs. It will make your kitchen smell nice and it's very aesthetic. And then once they're dried, bundle them up. Put them in charm bags or hang them above your doorways for protection. And the sixth way to celebrate the summer solstice is a sunrise or sunset meditation. As we've talked about today, the summer solstice is all about the journey of the sun and the sun being at its peak. So being able to observe the sun was considered to be a form of communication with the cosmos. And you can still tap into that energy. The moments when the sun rises and when the sun descends are divine moments of presence and reverence. All you need to do is find a peaceful place, whether it's your backyard, a rooftop, or a park, and sit facing the rising or setting sun and reflect. What have you grown through since wintertime? What in your life is blooming? What isn't ready to be harvested yet? You can offer a prayer of gratitude and open your heart to the fullness that is coming in the summer. And I'm going to offer you a bonus activity, making a solar spray. I love sprays. It helps purify me, it energizes the space, and it's an easy way to bless things. And making a solar spray on the summer solstice is clarity in the highest. So first you want to think about the intention for your spray. Is it prosperity? Is it clarity? Is it cleansing? And you're going to get a little spray bottle and you're going to fill it about a fourth way of water. And you're going to add drops of essential oils related to the sun. This could be orange, frankincense, cinnamon, or clove. And I like this because you get to mix and play with it. You choose how many drops that you want to add. I personally would do 6 because that is the number of the sun. And then lastly, you're going to fill the rest of your vial up with vodka or isotropic alcohol. Either one will work. Give it a nice spray and mist your home, your altar, your car, yourself with sunlight and vitality. What do you plan on doing for the summer solstice? Let me know down below in the comments. I also wanted to give a shout out to the 2 books that I used as references today. Midsummer, Rituals, Recipes, and Lore for Litha by Deborah Blake, and Rounding the Year of the Wheel by Sarza. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, mystics, stay magical.